Hello, darlings. Welcome to Z Star Africa, your home of sizzling drama recaps. Today, we dive deep into Renuka's sins against Sayali, her path to repentance, and Renuka's shocking new wife arrangement for Tejas. Let's get into it. The episode opens with Sayali being suddenly attacked by a group of goons while she is on her way out. They aggressively target her and snatch the bag she is carrying, which contains 2 lakh rupees. Sayali desperately tries to hold on to the bag, fighting back despite being outnumbered, but her efforts fail. The goons shove her forcefully to the ground, leaving her badly injured, and flee with the money. Helpless and hurt, Sayali lies there until, after a few minutes, members of her group arrive and rescue her, immediately realizing the seriousness of her condition. Meanwhile, Tejas is suffering from a high fever, not just due to physical illness, but also because of his emotional and mental turmoil. Deeply disturbed, he pleads with his mother, Renuka, to let him speak to Roshni, hoping the conversation might ease his pain. However, Renuka firmly refuses. She strictly instructs Tejas to cut all contact with Roshni, accusing her of deceiving the entire family and forbidding any further communication with her under any circumstances. Soon after, Sachin reaches the hospital and is shocked to learn that Sayali has already been admitted due to her severe injuries. Seeing his wife in such a fragile and painful state completely breaks him down. Overwhelmed with emotion, Sachin struggles to comfort Sayali while fighting back his own tears, feeling helpless and furious at the same time. When Sachin and Sayali return home, they narrate the horrifying incident to the family members. Everyone is stunned upon seeing Sayali's injuries. Akash, however, raises a troubling question. How did the goons know that Sayali was carrying such a large amount of money, especially when it was kept in a bag? He further points out that the bag contained 5 lakh rupees. His comment plants a seed of suspicion in both Sachin's and Sayali's minds. Renuka, sensing danger, becomes visibly nervous and tries to divert the conversation, but her uneasiness does not go unnoticed. In reality, it was Renuka who had informed Mandira that Sayali had arranged the money and would be depositing it in a yellow bag. Acting on this information, Mandira immediately instructed her men to snatch the bag. As Renuka desperately attempts to steer the discussion away, Sachin loses his temper due to her repeated interference and defensive behavior. To allow Sayali some rest, she is taken inside the room. At that moment, Tejas protests, claiming that the room belongs to him. Without creating a scene, Renuka quickly intervenes and allows Sayali to rest in Tejas's room, leaving Tejas powerless and silently upset. Inside the room, Sachin and Sayali revisit the incident. Akash's earlier doubt continues to trouble them, and Sayali begins to feel that the attack was not random. She starts suspecting that someone known to them may have been involved in planning the robbery. Later, in the dining hall, Parsh discusses the matter seriously with the rest of the family. Renuka, meanwhile, is internally panicking, haunted by the fear that her truth might come out and she will have to face the consequences of her actions. Eventually, Renuka calls Mandira and angrily confronts her for hurting Sayali so brutally. She claims that she never intended for Sayali to be harmed and only wanted the plan to be cancelled. Mandira coldly responds that backing out is no longer possible and warns Renuka that if the truth comes out, Renuka herself will be exposed. Unbeknownst to them, Sayali overhears the entire conversation. Shocked and devastated, she finally realizes that Renuka was the mastermind behind the attack. Heartbroken and betrayed, Sayali immediately decides to leave the house. She begins packing her belongings and before leaving, confronts her mother-in-law. In an emotional outburst, Sayali questions Renuka about her cruelty and lashes out at her for being so heartless, unable to accept the betrayal any longer. Sayali informs Renuka that she has decided to leave the house permanently. She makes it clear that her decision is final and urges Renuka to accept it without resistance. Renuka is left completely confused and distressed, unable to understand what has gone so terribly wrong or how to respond to this sudden decision. Her emotional turmoil deepens when Sachin arrives at the house, only to discover that his wife is no longer there. Unable to hide the truth any longer, Renuka finally admits that Sayali has left the house for good, leaving Sachin devastated. Soon after, Sayali is seen taking shelter at Shabha's house. She becomes overwhelmed with emotions upon seeing Sachin there as well, but despite her inner turmoil, she finds herself unable to express her feelings or explain her actions to her husband. During their interaction, Sachin reveals that he has recently uncovered information about a gambling racket and that the people involved are closely connected to Mandira. This revelation adds a new layer of tension to the already strained situation. Meanwhile, Juhai contacts Aaron and informs him about the gambling incident involving Sayali. Aaron assures her that he will find a way to teach the culprits a proper lesson. However, Juhai explains that Sayali's elder sister and brother-in-law have already begun their own investigation into the matter, determined to bring the truth to light. Sachin, now filled with resolve and anger, decides that Mandira must be taught a permanent lesson for her misdeeds. He gathers support from Riya, Akash, Dilip, and Anya, carefully planning a decisive move against Mandira. United by a common goal, they come together and swear to expose her crimes and ensure she faces the consequences of her actions. Amidst all this tension, a lighter moment occurs when Sayali meets Juhai's boyfriend. Although she feels excited and curious, her shy nature takes over, creating a brief yet heartwarming contrast to the otherwise intense storyline. On the other hand, Renuka pays a visit to Mandira's house. She is instantly irritated by Mandira's arrogant and egoistic behavior and lashes out at her for the pain she has caused Sayali. Mandira, however, remains shameless and confident, believing that she has already defeated Sayali. She warns Renuka that Sachin has begun investigating her activities and may soon search her house. Pretending to trust Renuka, Mandira agrees to hand over the money to her for safekeeping, unaware that she is walking straight into a trap. Later, Sachin, along with Riya, Akash, and Dilip, arrives at Mandira's house disguised as income tax officers. Mandira panics, unable to understand how to protect herself. Despite her attempts to stop them, the team pretends to find nothing during the search. However, Mandira soon realizes the truth and catches Sachin red-handed, understanding that she has been deceived. In the final moments, Sachin returns home and reveals the entire plan to his family, explaining how Renuka played a crucial role in recovering the money and safeguarding it from Mandira's clutches. With the issue partially resolved, Renuka heads to Shabha's house, determined to bring Sayali back home. However, uncertainty hangs in the air, as no one knows whether Sayali will agree to return after everything that has happened. When Renuka arrives at Shabha's house, she speaks to Sayali with unexpected humility. She sincerely requests her to return, explaining that she never intended to hurt her. Renuka admits that she may have been influenced by Mandira and made wrong decisions, but she insists that she never wanted any physical harm to come to Sayali. Sayali is completely taken aback by Renuka's sudden appearance and apology. For a moment, she struggles to believe what she is seeing. Yet Renuka's softened tone and genuine concern slowly melt Sayali's resistance, and she finally agrees to go back home with her. Upon returning, Sayali is welcomed with respect and care. Renuka personally makes arrangements for her and ensures that she is properly reinstated into the household. Sayali also receives the money she had lost, which leaves her emotional and tearful. While Renuka outwardly pretends that she brought Sayali back for practical reasons, Sayali senses that Renuka's actions are driven by feelings she can no longer openly express. The recovery of the money deeply moves Sayali, and Sachin is equally overwhelmed with happiness at having his wife back home. Just when everything seems to be settling down, Roshni realizes that her position in the house is becoming insecure. Fearing she may lose her influence, she decides to act quickly. Wearing a bold and attractive outfit, she attempts to seduce Tejas. Tejas feels drawn to her but tries hard to control himself. When Roshni pretends to fall, Tejas rushes to help her, tenderly rubbing her legs with ice to soothe her. Renuka observes the situation closely and immediately understands Roshni's intentions. Realizing what is happening, Tejas regains his composure and once again creates distance between himself and Roshni. The next day brings lighter moments. Sachin playfully insists on making parathas for Sayali while she works in the kitchen, confidently claiming he can do it better than her. However, he soon realizes that cooking is not as easy as he thought, and Sayali naturally resumes her role. Later, the couple talks about recent events, and Sayali admits that she still finds it hard to believe that Renuka stood up for her. Meanwhile, Mandira confronts Renuka at her class, demanding her money back. Renuka firmly states that the money has already been returned to Sayali and makes it clear that Mandira is no longer welcome there. Sayali also arrives and warns Mandira to stay away from their family matters. Realizing she has lost Renuka's support, Mandira leaves, but not before issuing a threatening warning. Towards the end, Roshni visits Shakuntala's house to discuss her concerns. Coincidentally, Renuka arrives there as well, forcing Roshni to hide. From her hiding place, Roshni overhears Renuka's plans and becomes alarmed when she realizes that Renuka may be considering arranging Tejas' second marriage. See you in the next fams, much love.